Hello fellow Genshin community. This is a new channel and this is my first time making videos, so if there's any advice or suggestions, it will be greatly appreciated. Now I will explain why I start making videos near the end of the video. So now let's talk about Albedo, the new character. A quick conclusion for fellow low budget players and free to play players: don't pull for this character. Don't pull for this character. And it's important, so I'll say it 3 times: don't pull for this character. He is not that good. So the banner itself is very good. It have the 3 4 stars, which is the 3 best 4 stars currently in the game, which is Fischl, Bennett, and Sucrose. So if you're far from pity, you could pull for some 4 stars in this banner. So now let's talk about Constellations first. Albedo's first Constellation, it does not fully recharge energy for himself if he is the only Geo in the team. And because he is Geo and you need to run Geo Renaissance, the new buff that's coming in 1.3 anyway, you need at least 2 Geo in the team. So the first Constellation is basically useless. The second Constellation scales damage based on defense. Now it stacks up to 4 times, about 120% damage based on his defense. But as a support DPS, Albedo, you usually don't stack defense. You stack attack damage, and crit damage. So therefore, it boosts the damage by a little bit, but it's like Zhongli's HP scaling. It's not that much. C3 and C5 we're not going to talk about because it just adds 3 levels to the talent. C4 is completely useless. Plunge attack in this game, 30% is great, but the cooldown for E is on 4 seconds. Who's ever gonna use this? C6 is a little disappointing because Ningguang's level 70 passive give you 12%. Yet a C6 for Albedo, a 5-star character with cost around $800, 17% damage bonus is very disappointing. So now let's move on to talent. Now normal attacks. We don't really need to talk about this because Albedo is not a main DPS, so it don't matter. His E does AoE every 2 seconds. Damage is decent compared to Zhongli's E, which does AoE every second. And if you have C1 for Zhongli, then you'll have 2 pillar for the Geo Renaissance on Geo constructs. Now the average energy recharge between Albedo and Zhongli's is about the same. Albedo's E give a guarantee energy ball every 2 seconds, where Zhongli is a random, but Zhongli's proc every second. So if you average it out, it's about the same. Now his Q have a 588 damage bonus with 115 damage bonus on each blossom, and I believe the maximum is 7 blossom. But against small mobs, you'll hit about 2 blossoms, and then because this game is still new, all the monsters and bosses are not huge compared to a game like Final Fantasy, you're not gonna hit all the blossoms. From what I noticed, on big mobs, you'll hit about 3 or 4, at most, if you're lucky, 5. And therefore, the damage scaling around Albedo's Q is the same as Zhongli, which is about 800 something percent on level 8. However, Albedo's Q does less damage than Zhongli because Zhongli have a talent boost his passive at level 70, which is 33% HP damage scaling, which Albedo don't have. Also, Zhongli's ult have Petrify, which Albedo's ult also don't have. And because Albedo's E scale with defense, you need to pick between defense or attack. If you pick defense, meaning his E damage would be better, but his Q would do almost no damage. Similar case with Zhongli, where if you go max HP build, he'll have no damage whatsoever. Therefore, in this case, you'll most likely go with attack scaling. So the defense boost is only slightly. His talent number one is does 25% more damage to opponent whose HP is below 50%. With the game currently, where you could basically try to burst out mobs, and even in Abyss, 25% damage on E is not that much, considering his E total damage is also not that much. Now if you go to the second one, this is the talent that's good. It's good, but not on Geo characters. Elemental Mastery boosts elemental reaction damage for party members. Sucro also have this, and why Sucro is better than Albedo in this case? Because Sucro's amino, and the Verdescent set is completely broken because it reduces elemental resistance. I believe it's 40% with the set. Geo, on the other hand, have no elemental reaction with any other element currently in the game. Well, we could look forward to Dendro, which is coming, but we have no idea what it does currently. Therefore, we could keep our hope up, but currently, Elemental Mastery for Albedo is not good. Because Elemental Mastery for other Geo characters, you need to run 2 Geo in the team. It boosts shield, and you don't need any more tanking in this game because you're going to have a healer anyway. Therefore, in conclusion, Albedo is just not good. The only place where he's better than Zhongli is if you have Albedo with Noelle, and that is only slightly better than Zhongli because Noelle does not have a Geo construct for Zhongli's E to benefit from with the Renaissance. Zhongli with Ningguang is a lot better than Albedo with Ningguang because of the energy rechecks and how Zhongli's E works. And Zhongli with MC is better than Albedo with MC. MC have a lot of Geo energy recharge, and it'll boost Zhongli's ultimate, which you could constantly CC mobs, which Albedo can't do. Now, if you have Albedo and Zhongli, it's a good combination for doing ult bombardment, but you're sacrificing team synergy for this because you have 2 Geo damage support in your team. Now you're gonna fit in a healer and then you're gonna fit in your main DPS. Where's the elemental reaction gonna come from? Right? It's just this team comp is not good. Now if you think about 3 Geo, that means you're completely sacrificing all elemental reaction. And in current game, the biggest damage come from elemental reactions like Melt Vaporize, and then you have Superconduct and Electro Charge from the other elements. So in conclusion, Albedo's design is just bad. Like, why make this character? If you go for his aesthetics and how he looks, he looks okay. But if you want to just go for that, sure, go for it. But performance-wise, he's outshined by Zhongli, who is very weak at the moment, and the buff is coming 1.3, I believe. So why even make this character, MiHoYo? He gets outperformed by Zhongli in every aspect of being a Geo character. It's disappointing and sad. Now let's talk about Albedo and non-Geo teams. Geo element cannot have elemental reaction, and his E can easily mess up your elemental aura because his E applies constant Geo damage, like so. So you drop down the E, and every time you hit, every 2 seconds, it'll do Geo damage. Now these are elemental slimes, so they always have the elemental aura. But on every other mob and for 2Es and everything, it will just mess up your aura on the mobs. So lastly, with the upcoming Geo Resonance buff, you need constant shields to apply the new Geo effect, which is the current effect of 15% damage bonus, and the new effect is 15% shield strength, and there's a 20% Geo resistance reduction. That is the most important thing about the official announcement from MiHoYo regarding Geo Buff. That 20% is what Geo team need. Now, do I think that's enough? No, because Verdes and Set on Amino have 40% elemental reduction. So Geo just does less damage. Now, if you could argue they're more tanky, but at the current moment, if you have a healer, there's no point on being that much tankier. It's a bit more convenient for maybe the whales, but for general us free-to-play players and budget players, we're not gonna benefit from a Geo team. And also because of how the new Geo buff works, Zhongli just became the heart of all Geo teams. You need Zhongli. Zhongli's shield applies every 12 seconds, and if you have his C2, then his shield will apply average out every 6 seconds, and it lasts 20 seconds. You need a shield to apply the Geo buff that's coming. So in conclusion, free-to-play and budget players like myself, don't pull for Albedo. He's just not good. Now if you're far from pity, then you could pull for the 4 stars. The 4-star banner this patch is completely busted. They are the best 4 stars currently in the game. And MiHoYo try to sell you this, that's why they put it on it. They want you to roll for Albedo. They want your money. So here's the end of the video for Albedo. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and it'll be greatly appreciated. Now, I'll talk about why I make videos. YouTubers and streamers, they punch out a lot of misinformation, and that leads to my complete tilt, because I have full-time work and my playtime every day is about maybe 3 hours, so it's comparable to most free-to-play players. And many streamers and YouTubers suggest things like Crescent Pike Xiangling, which is a completely bad build. And I'll make a separate video on how to actually play Xiangling the effective way. And basically, Crescent Pike is bad on Xiangling. Don't build it. And what I noticed, because I am Chinese and I speak the language, there's a very big difference between YouTube videos that content creators make and people on the Chinese server on the Chinese YouTube, which is Bilibili. So because I understand both languages, so I decided to do my own research around a bit and share my results with the Genshin community on what I find and what optimal builds and what works for characters and team competitions. Also, on the current NA server, we had Jinx and Tuna, and I believe they're the only one who do number crunches. Now there's more people like them in the Chinese Bilibilis, and especially after the Zhongli incident, the whole Asia and the Chinese community, they are all outraged by how Zhongli turned out. Therefore, more of them are doing content guides based on numbers, which is what I believe is the best. Number tells everything, right? Now, some people have told me things like ease of use or how convenient a character is, which I think is complete bullshit. You can't do ease of use, and you can't use it to measure, because that's different for everyone based on age, reaction time, etc. So on the Zhongli incident, yes, I'll make a separate video about that too. About the 1% of people that thinks he's underperforming. Yes, I'll share with you what the Asian community thinks about Zhongli. So thank you for your support and have fun.